In recent years, some of the world's model students of sustainability, such as Norway and Switzerland, have turned to wood for high-rise buildings. But against all odds, the trend has even spread to the United States and Australia. These two countries are now competing to build the world's tallest timber skyscraper, as we'll see in this video. Renewable and recyclable, wood also has the advantage of storing carbon throughout its life. According to the Swiss Federal Office for the Environment, every cubic meter of wood used in a building sequesters about 1 ton of CO2. Long underestimated for high-rise buildings due to concerns about fire resistance and durability, mass timber technology has truly revolutionized this perception. Developed in Austria in the 1990s, mass timber quickly spread throughout the building industry. But it wasn't until 2010 that the technology really took off, thanks largely to the use of cross-laminated timber, called CLT. A construction material belonging to the engineered wood family, it's composed of glued laminated timber arranged in crossed layers and glued under pressure to form a single wooden element. A material that's not only resistant to time, but also extremely efficient from a thermal and seismic point of view. Thanks to the advent of CLT, it's now possible to build wooden skyscrapers of 30 stories or more. As a result, ambitious projects are already springing up all over Europe. Away from the record-breaking race, Switzerland is building on a solid foundation of sustainability. In Lausanne, for example, the Malley Phare is scheduled for delivery this year. This is the first tower in French-speaking Switzerland to be constructed of wood. Designed by architecture firm CCHE, the tower will be an extension of the Malley Lumiere shopping center and will house residential units, co-working spaces, and a rooftop bar, at an estimated cost of €53,786,000. The structure, 90% of which will be made of locally sourced wood, will rise to a height of 60 meters or 197 feet. It'll be reinforced with metal beams and covered with an active photovoltaic facade. This functional facade will generate electricity thanks to its roof of photovoltaic modules. In addition to storing carbon dioxide, it'll contribute to the production of renewable energy. It may not be a record breaker in terms of height, but this tower is an example of innovation for the benefit of the environment. Another example of innovation is Norway's Mio Starnet Tower, inaugurated in 2019. Designed by Vol Arkitekter at a total cost of €430 million, it's the second tallest wooden skyscraper in the world. At a height of 85 meters or 279 feet, its 18 floors will provide concrete proof of the viability of timber construction for high-rise buildings. What's more, its construction will have mobilized resources sourced exclusively from local production within a 15-kilometer zone around the site. Although this tower is already impressive, it's in the United States that wood really begins its race to the sky, and more specifically on the shores of Lake Michigan in Milwaukee. It's in this city in the state of Wisconsin that the world record for the tallest wooden skyscraper was set in 2022. The project was spurred on by the city's mayor, Cavalier Johnson, who wanted to revitalize the downtown area by launching a major renovation program. As a result, the Ascent Tower reaches a height of 86.50 meters, or 282 feet, barely 1 meter higher than its Norwegian rival. A success, according to the promoters, who point out that only the tower's foundations and elevator and stairwell shafts are made of concrete. The structure, covered by a glass facade, is made entirely of wood. The 25-story tower, with a total of 650 square meters of retail space and 259 residential units, was built in just 2 years. According to the American architectural firm Korb Plus Associates Architects, the use of wood saved 3 to 4 months of construction time compared to a conventional concrete structure. This is mainly due to the decay time of concrete. It was a groundbreaking project for the city, and one that attracted a lot of interest from developers. Now that the world record's been set, it needs to be maintained. That's why Milwaukee set its sights even higher, with a 182-meter or 597 feet wooden tower. This ambitious project is the brainchild of Michael Green, an architectural firm based in Vancouver, Canada. No timeline's been announced for the 55-story tower, which would officially enter the skyscraper category that starts at 100 meters. However, the building will still have concrete foundations and steel elements, particularly for elevator safety. According to the project's architect, 90% of the materials used to construct the tower will be wood, sourced from sustainably managed North American forests. The company also says that the skyscraper's design may evolve before completion. One thing is certain, however, the building will feature landscaped terraces for the comfort of its occupants. The project also includes the creation of 750 apartments, 17,000 square meters of office space, and 300 hotel rooms. Valued at $700 million, this project could have a ripple effect on urban policy in the United States. Currently, regulations governing the use of wood in high-rise buildings vary from state to state. Some states, such as California and Oregon, have already enacted regulations that favor the use of wood in skyscrapers, but other regions remain more reluctant. By taking a sustainable approach and demonstrating the effectiveness of wood in high-rise construction, Milwaukee's sending a positive message to other U.S. cities, which may soon look to this type of project for inspiration in their planning policies. But it's not just the US that's aiming high. On the other side of the globe, Australia has been quick to respond. The country's also entering the race with a project that pushes the boundaries of timber architecture. But before we travel to Australia to see this architectural marvel, it's best to prepare for our trip, and that starts with a good mobile connection as soon as we arrive at the airport. That's why I recommend using Airalo, the sponsor of our video, to avoid the nasty surprise of a huge roaming bill when you get back from your trip. In fact, Airalo is a handy eSIM technology that allows you to have data in 200 countries around the world. No more roaming fees, no more queuing at the airport to buy a local SIM card, no more struggling to find a strong Wi-Fi connection at the airport. It makes things easier. Trusted by 10 million travelers worldwide, Airalo is the world's first eSIM store, giving you access to digital SIM cards. I use it personally, and Airalo's been a great help in staying connected on my travels. It only takes a few minutes to set up and activate, and there's no need to worry about roaming costs or getting local SIM cards. With Airalo, I can easily make calls and work wherever I am. Best of all, you keep your original phone number. Install Airalo today so you can stay connected wherever you travel. And via my link in the description or the QR code that appears, you can get $3 off your first eSIM using my code LOOKING4EN3, so don't lose time. To be built in the beautiful city of Perth, the C6 Timber Tower promises to push the boundaries of timber construction even further. This skyscraper project will reach a height of 191 meters, or 626 feet, 9 meters more than the North American project. Designed by Australian architecture firm Fraser & Partners, the C6 project, named for its location at 6 Charles Street, will use a hybrid system of timber combined with a concrete frame. The tower's developer states that the 7,400 cubic meters of renewable solid wood will make up 42% of the structure. In other words, the tallest wood-concrete hybrid tower in the world. The giant capella will have about 240 residential units spread over 50 floors. The interior design will feature natural materials, and the building's expected to be carbon neutral from the moment of delivery and throughout its life cycle. The developer estimates that its construction will have a negative carbon footprint, arguing that the wood used will store more CO2 than that emitted by other building materials. But that's not all. Residents will be able to share a fleet of 80 Tesla Model 3s, which will be parked in front of the electric charging stations installed in the building's parking lot. An offer that heralds a new form of real estate ownership where shared ownership of a fleet of cars will be a selling point. But the C6 Tower is not just about technological innovation. It's also a flagship project for the city of Perth, and Australia in general, as it seeks to reinforce its commitment to sustainable urban development. Indeed, the construction of this timber skyscraper is part of the Australian government's broader plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote renewable energy. As it strives to become a more sustainable city, Perth sees the C6 as an opportunity to show the way for other Australian cities. The C6 project also has social benefits. The construction of the skyscraper will create jobs and boost Australia's timber construction industry. Projects of this scale require a strong local supply chain, skilled craftsmen, and engineers specializing in timber construction technologies. This project could therefore serve as a catalyst for greater use of timber in construction in Australia. The race to build the world's tallest timber skyscraper is symbolic of a desire for change in modern architecture. The C6 in Australia and the Milwaukee project are just the forerunners of an emerging global trend that could well change the way we design the buildings of the future. Even in Japan, a country where you'd think concrete would be king because of the seismic risk, wood projects are starting to pop up, thanks in part to the material's flexibility. By the way, if you want to see how the city of Tokyo is preparing for the next big one, check out the video I produced on the subject a few months ago. Japan has ambitious plans for wooden skyscrapers, some of which could reach 350 meters or 1,148 feet, such is the case of the W350 tower planned for 2041 in Tokyo. Conceived by Sumitomo Forestry, this wooden skyscraper will allow the Japanese company to celebrate its 350th anniversary in style. To realize this extraordinary project, Sumitomo Forestry will collaborate with the Japanese Tsukuba Research Institute, experts in new technologies for sustainable and responsible construction. Meanwhile, the company is mobilizing its research and development department to help the lab understand all the details involved in building this unusual tower. Although construction of the W350 tower is still some 20 years away, Sumitomo Forestry has already revealed some of its features. The tower will be made of 90% wood and will meet Tokyo's strictest earthquake safety standards. The builders also plan to use reusable wood, as the tower will be renewed throughout its life. Frames will be periodically dismantled and replaced to be reused for furnishings. With an area of 455,000 square meters or 111 acres, the tower's 70 floors will house not only residential units, but also shops, a hotel complex, and a rooftop garden. The project is estimated to cost $5 billion, the same amount it took to build New York's One World Trade Center, the world's most expensive skyscraper. That's a lot more than a skyscraper of this size built with today's technology, but that's only because of the amount of money invested in research and development to make it happen. Another reason for Sumitomo Forestry to undertake such a project is to combat global warming. According to them, the building will be able to absorb no less than 100,000 tons of CO2. But that's not all. The company also wants to support the Japanese timber industry, which is currently experiencing difficulties. It's found that cypress and cedar trees planted after World War II have grown large enough to be exploited. With a skyscraper estimated to cost $5 billion, the Japanese timber industry can be satisfied with such a project. It remains to be seen if this project will actually see the light of day in 2041. And it's with this spectacular project that we leave you today. I hope you enjoyed this new episode, and we'll see you soon for the next video on Looking For.